Sitting on the barrel is a man dressed in a brown vest and a brown tricorn hat, surrounded by many trade items.
Let me go through some of the things here, and I'll tell you about some of the items. These are all things that we found on ship's manifests that the Indians requested. Now understand, the Indian trade was based on, it was a consumer-driven industry.
Red cloth covered in items.
What the trader brought them was the things that they requested them to bring. And as soon as the trader brought them an axe, and they could, and with him he built the first log homes. One of the first things we found out that they asked for were hot locks and hinges. I mean, they wanted to be able to lock up their stuff, you know. So they did request things, and they were brought what they requested. I'll start over here. The folding knives were a surprise because that was found in archive history. That folding knife, which you think we wouldn't have had something like that at the time, but they did. All that surprised you. The next thing to it there is a Jew's harp. In case somebody doesn't know what a Jew's harp is. It doesn't make a tune, but the only thing I can figure is before the Europeans got here, the Indians had no metal, and metal's the only thing that'll make that, and it might have just been the novelty of it. I don't know. But anyway, on all manifests always say Jew's harp. And it's J-E-W-S, Jew's harp. So, then there's
J-E-W-S?
J-E-W-S.
What was the reasoning for that?
I've researched it, and I have no idea. Nobody seems to know. Okay, the Indians were big into gambling, and they would, way back, they had games of chance that they played like on a big open lawn like this. So they would have a disc that they would create, and they would roll it out across there, and guys on either side would throw spears at it, and they would wager on who was going to be closest to it when it stopped. What spear? And there was one case where they said the Indian lost everything he owned wagering on that game. So there was, and their games between the tribes and stuff, they wagered on those big time. There was a real easy thing when the traders showed up with cards and dice. They got it right quick. I've seen a lot of different styles. This one I think fits as good as any. This is a mirror. It's got a 1/4 inch glass on it, which is incredibly thick, but it's really durable. But there were a lot of comments made that the Indians were able to take, and they wore these, okay? And they were able to take this and doll themselves up and decorate themselves incredibly well. I mean, according to the people talking. And they can do that with only seeing a little 4-inch square that they can use it like a 4-inch mirror. So this is on there because that was a big trade item. The scissors, awls, the tavern pipes, which are those right there, were common as a trade because they were already made. They just had to get them. The tobacco, people say, why would the Indians want to trade for tobacco? Well, the Indians had tobacco, but it's not Cuban. And basically that's what it was. It was that much better, and so they chose to do that. This is Flint. Around here, there's a little bit of Flint, but mostly there's chert. And if you know how to start a fire without a match, you'll be able to see it in the sunshine here. But you do that, and it sparks off and catches, you know. And these were traded. Steel, anything was a big commodity. Lead, pouring in the ball, making balls and all that stuff. Like I mentioned earlier, the hose, the women, that was one of the things they wanted. The locks, scissors. Now, if you didn't have a pair of scissors, would you miss it? If you didn't have access to a pair of scissors, I mean, scissors are a big deal. And it was to them too. Once they got them, it was just, yeah, wow.
What did they use them for mostly?
Everything. What if you're cutting leather, or you're cutting anything? There's things that scissors do that the knives just have a hard time doing. So they were a big deal. Tomahawks, don't let anybody tell you that they were a camp tool. They weren't. They were for killing people. That's what tomahawks were for. An axe, even a camp axe, had a head on it, on the back for driving and all that stuff. Tomahawks, they were war. They were for fighting, and they didn't throw them either. Okay, yeah, you would competing in a game or something. Now this one's a little different, and these were also popular. It's a pipe. You can smoke it. Okay, you put the tobacco in here, and it's got the thing, and you can actually smoke them. And they were popular, mostly ceremonial. But I ran across a description up north where they always said that they were just ceremonial until the guy came back from a battle with a six-sided hole in his head, with the Indian that used the wrong side on him. So it wasn't always ceremonial. These are all shot sizes that are put up here just for the sake of conversation. This one here fits this gun. That one fits the rifle. 45s fit the rifle. So it's like that. That's why that's out here. Pistols were typically smooth bore, round ball used. And that particular gun is a dragoon pistol. So they would be on both sides of the saddle. You'd pull them out and use them like that. There would be two. One big thing was an industry created for the Indian trade. It was made, they called it trade silver. And these things over here are all things that were made specifically for the trade. Sometimes they would have their own price, and sometimes it would be, you're doing all this, and so I'll throw this in, just sweeten the pile. And I think I've talked, cloth. There's been some people that have said this could easily have been called the cloth trade instead of the Indian trade, because it was so much of it was swapped back and forth.